Say kids, what time is it? PDR tool time.
Get over and show your dance off.
Hey, everybody. Another
hey.
episode of
Hey, John.
PDR Tool Time. So coming to you with, what is this, guys? Is this number 37?
I think so. Yeah, 37.
Yeah, we on 37 right now.
When we
So-
have 100, we can do an anniversary party.
Right.
Yep.
You're gonna see we're just gonna dance the whole time. We're gonna play a song and just the whole it's just gonna be a party. You're just gonna see us partying.
Yeah.
You know, beer bongs. Vinny's gonna have his pipe bong that he smokes on, right?
No?
What?
We'll provide the barbecue.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Talking about his vapor.
You want to hear something funny about that, Vinny? One of my students that was in last week, he tells me that it sounds like I'm sucking on a bong while I'm doing the freaking show, and it's you when you used to suck on your e-cigarette pipe thing. And he's telling me that he's like, oh man, he goes, I don't know what you're doing in the background. It sounds like you're over there working on a bong. And I'm like, dude, no. That's...
John, what's curious is he thinks you're doing it, and he doesn't think any of us are doing it.
I know.
What's that say?
It's like racial profiling, man. It's like
I guess so.
the dude with
That
all
was
the
before I
tattoos
discovered
gets
the mute button too.
Yeah.
Now I have the mute button.
Yeah. So, hey, John, why don't you tell everybody who we got on for guests today?
We got Craig and Christina from Anson PDR Tools, and we are going to, I don't have let's clap it up, guys. Come on, give it love.
Yes.
So we're going to crack.
Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks a bunch, guys.
So we're going to crack into this episode as usual, and I'm going to let Daniel jump in here because, he's the mad question asker. But go ahead and take this over, Daniel, and let's get it rolling.
So we asked you guys, I don't know if a lot of people know much about you guys, but you guys have a great company. And why don't you tell me how you first got into the industry and lead up to where you're at now?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Anson started off as Anson Industries back in '96. It was solely owned by George Dyer, sole proprietorship, who was my father. Coming out of construction business, went to work with Dad on this new business he started. Started out with industrial products, O-rings, gaskets, seals, custom molded rubber, this, that, and the other. By accident, we got in the PDR distribution business because we were a master distributor for people that sell hole plugs. We got all these calls 20-something years ago from Dent guys. So we just started selling hole plugs, and honestly, Dad said, hey, find out what this business is about and see if we can peddle more products to this industry. And that's what we did.
You know what? I wish more industries would do that because I get frustrated. Wood suction cups, for instance, we buy probably more suction cups than anybody. And what we need our own design suction cup for automobiles, not for glass.
Right.
And they got a 3-inch and a 4-inch. We need one right in between.
Sure.
But I don't know if they pay attention or we just need to be persistent as a group. But that's a great point that you wanted to know more about what our industry is. I really commend your dad for doing that.
Yeah,
But
Craig.
Dan, you mentioned wood suction cups. That as soon as you start talking about that, I was thinking, it's probably an 85-year-old man with the machine making a wood suction cup, and his wife does all the work, in the background. And they're like, why fix something that's not broken. People buy them, and maybe
Yeah.
there's no ingenuity behind it.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't even realize where they're going because they go through distribution first.
Right. So
back when we first,
go ahead, Craig.
back when we first started distributing to the PDR industry, hole plugs was the beginning. Go around hailstorms and meet the handful of guys that were doing it back in that time, and that's all it was a handful. Knockdowns were golf tees. Window wedges were door stops and things of that nature. Well, taking all that into consideration and like, well, how can you apply it more? Then people started turning little plastic knockdowns and real live window wedges and accessories and so on and so on. We started carrying CJ Engineering. I don't know if you guys remember them.
Yeah.
And A1 Tools back when Jerry owned it. And when Dent Craft came out, we've carried them ever since. That all ran through 2014. And that's when we had a change of ownership. Because of Dad passing away, and we decided to keep the business in the family, and we've ramped it up to going into 2017 now. And here's your owner, Christina Seckinger, proud owner of Anson PDR LLC.
Nice.
Now you have a shop location, correct?
Right. Yeah.
And where is that shop located?
It's in Arlington. It's in Arlington, just between Dallas and Fort Worth. We have a 5,000 square foot facility, which is a big shock to everybody. I think there's been a common misconception that we've just been mobile for 20 years. And now we have techs coming in saying, wow, you guys have only been around a couple of years. How did you get all this? It's like, no, it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that's awesome. So that explains the big boom from you guys, because there was a time when I would order plugs from you guys and things like that, but we didn't hear a lot coming from your company. And Christina, you took over, and were you the driving force behind this change in your company that all of a sudden I see you guys everywhere?
I would say that's a big part of it. Dad and I both, because of circumstances, my, grandfather did what he could do kind of thing. And then,
Sure.
I quit my job in the oil and gas industry and was like, let's do this. Let's make it work.
I love that.
Was that scary to make that decision?
It was. I think it was scarier for Dad, being a dad. Being like, whoa, are you sure? It's like, work, hear me out. Let's do this. So the first thing was to set up a website. That took about 10 months to do. And that went live March 2015. And fast forward to March 2016, and we've had the biggest hailstorm in DFW.
Yeah.
Right at our location. So
did you guys
time.
Okay. Did you guys physically see a lot of walk-in business at your facility during this last hailstorm?
It was actually, he said it just right the other day, ridiculous.
Oh, wow. That is so cool.
Ridiculous. I mean, like I said, we have a 5,000 square foot facility packed every day. We're open 8 to 5. We had customers in the parking lot at 7. If we wanted to get there early and actually be able to get some work done, paperwork or shipping our products out, that was,
Not happening.
customers were there, they were ready to go, open at 7, close at 7, just because, we had hundreds of people in at a time.
So I take it you have no regrets.
None.
No,
0.
no, it was actually on overload, so it was a good problem to have. On a normal year, without hail falling, within say a couple hours of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we'll have 2,000 to 3,000 walk-in customers.
Wow.
We're probably having that every 3 weeks, something like that, walk-in.
Wow.
A lot of it has to do with the building being there and people knowing where we're at for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Sure.
And obviously, Mother Nature helped us out a lot.
You must have an enormous mailing list. Being in business for as long as you have, I'm sure you send your products out to every part of the world.
Yeah, it's worldwide, definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
definitely being in Texas, which in my opinion, I could be wrong being in California. I think we have a lot of technicians in California, but I think
Okay,
it's probably 10 times as many in Texas.
I want to know this question. Where's the most obscure dent tech in the world?
Where? Like, where do they live?
Yeah, where's the most
Where do you
odd
ship?
country, like
Oh, odd country.
That you ship
Odd-
to.
that you ship to?
Oh,
Tasmania or something like that, you know?
no, we
If there's
Saudi
no dent guys in
Arabia.
Tasmania, I'm going there.
you Saudis.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
Middle East. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they got some nice cars there, that's for sure.
Yeah, that and we ship to Montana. That's pretty obscure.
Cool.
So can I ask you, Craig, are you a dent technician by trade? Did you get involved in the business? Is anybody in your family pushing dents? Because you guys are sure coming up with a lot of stuff. Anybody involved in your company pushing dents currently, fixing dents?
Whenever we started Anson as a distribution company, I broke away and spent 15, 16 years on the Hell Trail, all over the world, all over the United States. And so I see John shaking his head and he's like, now I see where some of these products are coming from. So yeah, got a lot of time on the Hell Trail in a lot of different countries and all over the states and this, that, and the other. And that helps us out a lot today because I have just enough knowledge to get us in trouble on what products may or may not work and this, that, and the other. And so it works good with Christina running the company and having the youth energized and having a little bit of age with a little bit of knowledge on products and whatnot. It all kind of blends together nicely, and I think our customer base appreciates it.
Yeah. And so I'm fascinated by a standalone store that carries every single different type of product. We don't have anything out here in California like that. We have Ultra, we have Dent Gear, and there's some other smaller companies. And you go there, they have their shop. But to have a superstore that carries every line of pretty much every PDR product out there, it would be overwhelming, I think, for myself to walk in there. I'd actually have to buy a lot of tools, which these guys give me.
Come on now.
One of the comments I made in 2014 was to kind of set a goal, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. We wanted our shop to be to a dent guy what Bass Pro and Cabela's are to the guy that hunts and fishes and enjoys the outdoors. And so we've made it that way. You guys have probably never been in the store, but you've talked to a handful or dozen or hundreds of guys that's been in there, and most of them are like, wow, this is pretty cool,
Sure.
But we are a distribution company, and we're fortunate enough to a couple of the companies you mentioned, they have their own tools. We carry a large variety, and that's what people like.
Oh, sure. And to be able to actually put your hands on the tools, that's one of the main reasons why myself and these guys, we go to MTE is to get our paws on the tools and actually feel them. Where when you're in Texas, you could just walk into your store and you could have a dent craft tool in your hand or check out a new tab or whatnot. And that's an incredible thing to be able to do.
Yeah, you can even show up and Curtis will give you a demo and train you on how to use the T-Hot box on a hood that's set up on a stand. I mean, there's stuff like that goes on every day.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's great.
That's cool. So what products were flying off the shelf this hail season?
Go right ahead, young lady.
Flying off the shelves.
What wasn't?
Number one sellers.
You haven't heard of root beer tabs, have you? At all?
No, not at all.
No.
Okay. Root beer tabs, black plague tabs, glue flying off the shelves. And another thing as far as our location in relation to what tools are flying off the shelf is we're about 30 minutes from DFW Airport. So a lot of customers were flying in and we were their first stop.
Nice.
Coming in to the States, getting set up here in Texas. And we learned what different nationality of customers used which which tools, to be able to help guide them in that direction. And lights.
Yeah, lights
flew off
lights
the
were
shelves.
amazing.
You name them, we had them, and they were sold in a day. I would get 20 lights in our shipping booth, gone by the end of the day.
Wow.
We're very fortunate to be able to carry top tier products in the lighting, whether it be the Dent, Stucky, Ultra, PDR Pro Solutions, and literally when boxes of their products would show up, there were people almost fighting over all those wonderful brands.
It must have felt like it can kind of maybe relate what the gold rush was like, and the guys selling the gold pans.
Yeah, it was it was a mess. It's still busy. We always stay pretty busy, but it was overwhelming, and we certainly welcome it again. Let's get a good fall hailstorm here in Texas where all you guys can come out.
Yeah.
Now, Craig, did you push Dents this year, or did you spend time managing the store?
I do not manage the store. You got the owner manager.
I'm pegging the wrong person here.
Yeah. Your first question, did I push Dents? Yes, I pushed and pulled a lot of this gravy Texas hail.
Right.
Very nice.
So yeah, did a fair amount of that. Yeah.
So Christina, let me ask you, how old are you, and what's your background? Because you look awful young, but obviously you're doing an excellent job. How old are you?
29.
29. Okay.
Yeah.
And you are out there hustling because
Right.
I've really seen a difference. It's like all of a sudden Anson is boom. I'm walking by all these booths at the Mobile Tech Expo, and I see your products in everybody's hands. It's like you have care packages everywhere. You really did a good job getting out there and getting it into other tool companies as well. So I want to commend you on that, because that's where I first started seeing you guys rise, to the point.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that was one of our goals, going back to 2014 and with my grandfather passing away. What are we going to do to keep this going? How are we going to revamp this? And that was one of our main goals, aside from just getting everything up to speed with, the day and time and website and everything, was expanding us on the wholesale side.
Okay.
To other customers, people like Ultra, Limited, etc. Everybody, we've all kind of partnered together with that, and kept everything in the PDR community growing and expanding, and we knew that's what we had to do.
Sure. Now, is your company full PDR, or do you still sell some of the original stuff that you were supplying prior to PDR?
The only thing prior to PDR that we still have are cable ties.
Okay.
Which, that's a small customer base we have. It's, something simple for us to upkeep. But other than that, I've gotten rid of everything else to be able to just focus on PDR.
That's
and
awesome.
That's, we just had to do that.
Now, I want to...
It's taken over, for sure.
Okay. Now, we kind of got an idea of your background. However, I want you guys to tell us a little bit about some of the new products that you have that have came out, and just talk about anything that you guys might be bringing to the table in the future as well. Anything at least you're comfortable for, to release to our massive PDR Tool Time audience.
Is there anything in particular you'd like to hear about?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, I don't know. Your products.
Let's talk about the Trax glue.
Okay.
You sent us all that, and we've actually.
Is it any good?
Yeah, I'm liking it a lot. How about you, John?
I'm loving it. Yeah, I've been feeding it through my gun for a few weeks, and it's a very good glue. It pulls hard, and it also peels off very easily. It seems like you, so far in the climate conditions that we've had, it's been phenomenal for me.
I've been running it through the Limited gun and Carl Stucky's gun. I've been using it since you sent it, to be honest with you. And I think that was almost 2 months ago. Prior to that, I was using the purple and the green cactus, which I also got from Anson. because I won a big gift box at MT last year.
There you go.
Tabs.
Well, make sure you enter the drawing this year,
Yep.
because I'm sure we'll be putting some good gift boxes together.
Yeah,
I actually stole a bunch of stuff from him too.
he did.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the Glue Trax glue is a premium quality PDR glue. It's teal in color. It'll say Glue Trax on the stick. All of our formulas will have a name printed on the stick. There's a number of reasons we do that. One is because you'll see things online that people advertise things that they aren't. So
Yeah.
any of that kind of stuff, if you get it from us, it's going to be printed on there what it really is. The Glue Trax formula was kind of based off of one of our original formulas, the green, but tweaked a bit. Actually, it was designed to work for more big dent repair kind of stuff. I've used it on 11 millimeter tabs, pulling hail, and it works great on small stuff as well. I'm currently alternating it, cutting 10-inch sticks into 5-inch sticks with Glue Trax and purple, letting one purge through the other. I know a lot of people are starting to catch on to that, but if you purge glues year round, we get a lot of temperature differences, especially in the spring. It may get hot as heck in the afternoon, cool in the morning, pleasant during the day. So if you're alternating your three favorites that you would normally use in cool weather or a moderate weather or a hot, it seems to work really good. But the Glue Trax and purple is what I've been using lately on alternating, and it seems to be a good purge. Not saying it's any better or anything else. It's just worked in the temperature humidity ranges that we've had. And I'm hearing good things from other people on alternating it with black,
Absolutely.
orange, or gray, or whatever your favorite glue is.
Yeah. I've been alternating with tab weld, and I'm really liking that combination. We have
Can't go wrong with that.
we have cold mornings, and it seems to just work really, really well in the morning
Mhm.
and well in the afternoon. If it gets a little bit hot, then I tend to throw something else in there.
Yeah, throw the purple in.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm digging it. It's good.
Yeah, and to move on a little bit further, now we've all heard the the people out there who had bought the root beer tabs and they've broken on them. So we
Mhm.
talked about this before, and we wanted to address this and give you the chance to take the stage and talk about is that because I've heard different things. I've heard that they're supposed to break because they're that final tab that gets that last little bit out, and they pull phenomenally hard. I mean, phenomenally hard. But then I've also heard that there's an air pocket that got into the mixture, causing the stems to break sometime. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've been pulling with them. I haven't broke one yet. I don't know if I just got a super good batch, but
Right.
I haven't broke one at all. But I figure we get a chance to address that and answer a question that's on everybody's mind.
Sure. Since the root beer tab seems to be a $3 piece of plastic that's the most polarizing product out there on the market today, instead of having to say, I've heard this, I've heard that, the thing about root beer tabs are the material itself, the official name that we call it is root beer because of the color of the material. The specific material that's used on that tab on the first series, which you have ovals and rounds, is the third material put out on the market out of the Aussie molds. You've got the Aussie Gold, which is a PC polycarbonate, the yellow ones. The next one's the Bloody Orange, which is a fairly indestructible nylon and extremely, extremely popular tab.
I love them.
Been searching for a couple of years for another product to pull a certain way, and we end up with a Jekyll and Hyde. What you have in the root beer tab on the positive side is there's nothing on the planet that will compare to how it can pull as far as a hard pull. What you have on the negative side is a high attrition rate. The high attrition rate is relegated to that particular material. The extremely hard pull you get is relegated to that particular material. So if you buy root beer tabs, you're going to know two things for sure. Number one, you're going to have the hardest pulling glue tab on the planet. Number two, you're going to have a higher attrition rate than possibly any tab out there. If you're worried about stuff breaking, maybe use something less indestructible. Out of the same mold, you got the Aussie Bloody Orange, same dadgum mold, fairly indestructible material. Will it pull as hard as a root beer? Absolutely not.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't really matter if it breaks. We don't have a large overhead cost in our industry, and that's
Sure
minimal.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Now, as far as it,
that's acceptable.
Anybody that we've replaced, as far as I know, anybody that's ever requested replacement, we've replaced them. Now, that being said, going forward, and Christina's put out in a newsletter whenever, and you guys got some, the cross tab and D-shaped tabs and this, that, and the other, and the newsletter states that it will pull just like the original root beers, and they will break. You're going to have the same attrition rate. I myself, since the 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day hailstorm hit Arlington, Texas, right where I live. I've broken 8 of them. And I couldn't begin to describe to you some of the gravy hell I've been pulling on these dents. We've been inverting things with them that just blows my mind. Now, I know people that say they broke 4 in a day, 10 in a day. I know people that's used them for months and not broke one like John. I honestly don't know how to explain that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, John, you have it. I've broken.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Vince, but
yeah.
I hear a lot of talk of people saying, "Oh, they're great with a mini lifter, but don't use them with a slide hammer." Every single pull that I've done is with a 3-pound black Anson slide hammer. I don't use a mini lifter. I'm slide hammer only, and I've broken 8 since March the 17th, and pulled thousands and thousands of dents.
Well, that's probably it, because I use a slide hammer a majority of the time. But I'm going to tell you one of the reasons probably why I haven't broke as many, because
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
So I only break out the root beers when it's absolutely necessary, because I'm the kind of person, when I glue pull, I don't want a massive giant high on my glue pull. That's more knockdown work. So I use the tabs that reflect the pull. You know what I mean? So
You're talking my language right there.
In fact, I want the tiniest little high spot, the smallest one. I want to flip the dent, but with a tiny, tiny high spot. I don't want to spend all day knocking down. And the problem is with the root beer tabs, they pull so hard that, you'll have a problem getting them off of the panel, and you're going to have this massive high spot if you pull all the way through with it. Sure. But I have came in situations where I did a cab corner one day, and I mean, nothing would stick to this thing. I'm sticking the giant tabs to it, and I busted out a root beer tab, stuck it to a cab corner, and it was the only thing that pulled that sucker through. Now, it didn't break that time. So I get where it's at, but I think technicians need to be educated in these tabs. So that's what a great thing is about this show. It's educating technicians to buy the root beer tabs, but don't use them. Keep them in your arsenal for when they're needed. It's like, you know what I mean? You don't pull out you don't pull out the nuclear weapon in a, you know what I mean, right off the bat. You got to put the nuke back, you know what I mean? Yeah. But when you need to come in and nuke that dent, grab a root beer tab, and you might lose it, you might not, but you're going to be able to get a pull on it.
Absolutely. I use different tabs. If there's a rail hit with hail on a Kia, unless it's really nasty, I am not putting a root beer on it, because you're gonna be tapping down the rest of the week,
Yeah. Yeah, or a Subaru.
But I can tell you every brand of tab that you guys can come up with that you want to name, we carry them at Anson, and we're proud to carry every single one of them. I don't know which one's the best. It's according to the circumstance. 5, 6, 7 different brands I have on my cart, and some of them are the best for this particular circumstance, and they're horrible for another. Simple as that.
I'm right with you on that, Craig.
Well, thanks for addressing the root beer tabs, because there are so many myths out there. And I myself, I break a lot of them, but I'm using them in a horrific way. It's usually on body lines and hard hard metal areas, and I use a mini lifter, and I snap the tops off of them. Sometimes it's on the first one, sometimes it's on the 20th pull.
Sure.
But you know, when I go to order them, I know that, like what Daniel said, it's part of the attrition. We have such a small overhead with our business that
Right.
what's how much is a root beer tab?
$3.
You know, and I'm charging $90 to fix a dent, and my overhead cost is a couple $2-3. It's minimal at least.
But there's the
Absolutely.
reverse side of that. We get so spoiled in PDR that we don't want to spend money, right? So that's what starts
Right.
coming
Right.
over us. This feeling that we
yeah.
haven't, we've invested time and our skill and all that stuff, and now we don't want to spend money on anything. And I have seen a shift in that over the years because I used to be in that that mindset. And in all honesty, that's how I became a good glue puller because I only had like 15 tools.
Right.
So I had to glue pull. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even have a mid-sized whale tail or a tiny one. I had a pistol grip,
Right.
and
Right. With an angled shaft.
man, I made that thing rock for years. And it wasn't till later on that I finally decided to start adopting some new tools. But if I was to go back and change anything, I sure wouldn't because I love being able to glue pull a lot of stuff today.
Like I can tell you, the tools available today are, as you guys know, it's overwhelming in a good way. In a good way.
Yeah, our industry is growing like crazy when it
The
comes to
guys
tools.
nowadays that are coming into it have it a lot easier than us old
Mhm.
dogs.
Oh, absolutely. We've got carbon fiber rods that cost what a set of tools used to, and we can't hardly keep them in stock because they're so amazing. You know.
Right. And let me tell you something that I noticed back in the day when I only had 15, 16 tools. I had a buddy that had hundreds and hundreds of tools. And he had to
Right.
roll this giant tool cart out. And what I found is that
I know him.
yeah, you probably know him. So what I found out was I was tackling these dents and going at them like crazy and getting these hail cars knocked out really fast. And
Mhm.
this specific individual, he's a good friend of mine. He's an older tech, so
I do know him.
you do, okay? So he would take the time to find just the right length, and this tool's not working. I better get one that's maybe a little bit of a flag on it, a little extra flag on it. And he was like messing with his tools all day, and I was rocking hail cars out. So that
Yeah.
further backed my thing. I'm like, I don't want tools, I've got 15, 16 of them, but I'm gonna rock this out. But later on, you do find out that it is great to have that tool. I still not to
Absolutely.
you still notice that in your arsenal, you're only grabbing maybe 10 tools as your main.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But there's some lifesaver tools out there now for sure.
So let me ask you this: Are you is there anything new out there that you're seeing that you're excited about, or maybe anything that you guys are working on?
Christina, what all you got brewing? I know you've got a lot brewing.
Let's see. Why don't you talk about the glue track tabs a little bit?
About the glue tracks tabs.
Mhm.
You guys are familiar with the glue track system.
Yes.
Yep.
There's 26 different links in that. We also have some mold bases being built to where that product is going to be injection molded. So along with the linear products that are more for creases or whatnot, there's going to be some really big rounds and ovals and stuff like that for collision and whatnot. Time frame, I'd love to put a date on it, but it's supposed
And
to
honestly,
be November. It'll be lucky it'll be MTE, so I'm not going to put a time frame on it. We've got another mold base being built.
that gets me excited because I think that's the area that I find most frustrating because I do a lot of big dents
Mhm.
and I start off with glue pulling and I really like the German tabs, those oval tabs that have the crease in the middle.
The
And
Laka
those,
or the
Worth.
HF?
yeah, no, the Laka.
Yeah.
Laka.
Yeah. Those things hook up like crazy.
Right.
But I like that material, but I want it in without the crease and I want them in bigger sizes.
We will have pretty much what you're talking about available in a bigger size. You're not going to be able to use it with just a standard mini lifter or a standard slide hammer. It's going to have some form of pass through. If
Yeah.
you guys follow me.
I use a pogo stick,
Yeah.
and that thing works great for pulling out big dents because you're doing a slow pull, slow and controlled,
hmm
and it's fantastic. I was doing a Tesla today using those, so that's exciting. That's good.
What else do you have, Christina?
We've got some new accessories coming out, which sounds kind of basic, but not necessarily. Kind of putting a little bit of some flashiness on them. Do you want to show them?
Which one?
Let's do the black one.
Do a black one. Some of this stuff's kind of boring, but
That's what I'm saying. It's not flashy, but we're gonna try and make it be a little flashy here.
Oh, nice.
Okay, what is it? Oh, it's a
Window guard.
window protect.
That's a nice one too. I got that one Dent Craft one that always falls down in the window on you.
there's a 2-inch lip right here. It's not going to
Yeah.
fall down in the window.
That's what I'm talking about.
What's that made of?
This is a polycarbonate.
Okay.
You know what you guys need
yeah.
to do with that? You need to take a rope and connect it to the window wedge.
A rope and connect it to the window wedge.
I'm serious. I've been doing that for a while, and because I got that Dent gear or Dent Craft one that falls straight down into the door,
Uh-huh.
and now I've got a window wedge that I can fish it out with.
There you go. This one has a 2-inch lip on it, so hopefully you're not going to drop it down the door.
After you
That'll
crack it, and you're still using it. Does it got a felt
Yeah.
backing?
No, you're going to have 3 new guards coming out within, 1 or 2 by the end of the week, and some more next week. These are not going to be sold with felt on them. There's a lot of issues with felt and some of the other things.
Yeah, they roll up and
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
yeah.
What we are going to be looking at doing is getting some stuff cut that'll have a peel off back. And if you want to felt yours, you can buy that, put it on. If you have problems with it, it's on you.
So,
Yeah.
you know what happens to me? I will eventually crack that thing, okay, right along the seam, right?
Absolutely.
I will eventually
Yeah.
crack it, but you know what will end up on it? Duct tape.
There you go.
So it'll be duct tape, but then it'll have a bend to it, just like the Dent Craft one, and it will fall in the door.
Well, wrap your duct tape over and around. And it'll
Over and
hold it.
around. But now let me tell you guys something. I actually had one of my knockdowns fall into, the front of a car the other day where it was down in that little plastic plate. You'd have to take it apart to get it out, but I could see it from the top. So normally I would take some glue and put it on a whale tail and drop it down in there and, glue it to it and pull it out. But because it's an aluminum knockdown base, I couldn't use a magnet. But this time I took some cola fria and balled it up on the end of my whale tail, went down there and stuck it and just pulled it right out. Which
That's awesome.
I'm here to tell you guys that I haven't lost a window
You should have
guard.
saved that for a tech tip.
That's a wonderful tech tip, I know. But that I could see that happening. Like if you lose your plastic window guard in there, I guarantee you could take some cola fria, ball it up, put it on there, put the wedge back in there, and get there and fish that sucker right back out. Just like we've done with glue in the past.
We do sell the cola fria kits. Now we've got another use for it. We can tell customers whenever they say, "What in the heck is it?"
Well, actually, you know what I use it for? Taking
What's
out tail lights. So when
Okay, yeah.
you unbolt the tail lights and it's still, it's got those plastic little things that hold it in there, I take the cola free on there and I pop the light out with it.
It's an amazing product. I'm assuming it's only been out within the past year or so. I don't know, maybe longer, but
No, it was that MTE that was
Yeah.
huge.
yeah,
So it hasn't even been a year yet.
it's a really cool product. I personally don't use it every day, but I can tell you I've pulled some big shallow stuff out with it, and also on some plastic bumpers. Not necessarily fixed them perfect, but
Yeah.
even on the corner of plastic bumpers, like, wow, that's pretty cool. It's amazing product. And we love to see people come out with products like that call Christina and say, "Hey, would you like to carry our product?" I'm guessing John hadn't called on the tactical PDR hammers yet to see if you wanted to distribute, or
I have like 5 places right now that's on my list of distributing, including you guys to call and talk to you about it. But I haven't been able to get caught up enough to sell any volume. I've got one order to Germany, one order to England, and I'm always behind the gun on this thing.
Okay.
So now I got more handles coming because I'm down to like 15 handles.
Right.
I've got 200 tops, but I got new handles coming in this week. So I'm hoping that I'm going to figure this game out to get a steady flow to
So you're
actually.
telling us there's a chance, right?
Oh yeah. I'm going to approach.
So at some point, Anson may have the tactical PDR hammers.
Absolutely. And I've been talking to Ultra and Finesse, PDR Finesse, and Dent Wizard of Australia is waiting for me to get with them on it. But I had one guy from Germany that just kept, he was like on me like crazy from the beginning, and he finally got his big shipment, and which again put me behind the gun again.
Yeah.
And but I promise everybody out there who wants the wholesale into this that I will have this thing ready to roll here
Now,
pretty darn soon.
We do have a Daniel Grom MPDR buy stand set up in our showroom. So as soon as John's product, we'll have two. Now, Vince, do you have something cool coming out for us?
I do next year, but I'm not really allowed to talk about it. But I guarantee you that you guys will be the first ones I'll come to.
Hey, Vinny.
It's still in prototype stage.
It is,
So,
yeah.
So if it's a little LP, just the A and B side of your rock tune, we'll take it.
All right. Well, I guarantee you'll love it. I guarantee it. Everyone that has seen it so far is excited about it.
And Vinny, can I ask you? Can you tell them what industry you've seen something at least? What industry? Can you go there? Can we give any kind of teasers? Just a little bit.
It's from.
What was the question?
we just want to Vinny had inspiration from another industry, and I'm just wondering if he can at least give that teaser, or do you want to hold on to that for a little while?
Well, I can say that it came from the surgical industry. And,
there you go. Okay.
It translates over to what we do quite well.
Cool.
So it's not a unique thing, but it will definitely be unique to our industry.
Right.
All right, fellas. Is there anything else you guys would like to add since we just lost Daniel Crom?
Yeah. He'll be back.
At least, he'll be back. Is there anything you guys would like to add, or you two would like to add? Well, first off, I got to say something, Christina. I'm like super impressed with what you've done with your father here with Anson. I love the father-daughter aspect of this. It is, you can tell you guys work together well. At least here on the camera, you guys look like you work together well. Right?
We do.
All right, you guys do good. That's a tremendous thing. I really like that you're taking Grandpa's business, and I know what that is. I mean, I know what the feeling is when. I have a feeling that might have been a prime motivator, is to, you got Grandpa saying, you're doing the best you could possibly do, and that was a motivator with me and my father when he passed away. I looked at that day and I said, you know what? I'm going to make him the proudest, father. It was my grandfather who adopted me, but the proudest father, figure in my life that I ever had. Proud as can be. And it's just amazing that you guys are doing this with this company. And I got to give you a big applaud for that. Great job.
We're definitely proud to walk through that door every day.
Absolutely.
Doesn't it fit? Doesn't it just remind you, and just give you that feeling? That's amazing. That's why I play old country music in my shop.
We're very fortunate to have the industry supporting us for over 20 years too, and we appreciate everybody having anything to do with the PDR industry for supporting us. It makes you feel good.
Definitely.
Well, before we move on to tech tips, can you let our audience know where to find your tools and where to go to get Anson tools, the website, address, all that good stuff? Throw that out there for our crowd.
Yes, you can visit our website at ansonpdr.com. You can call us at 817-226-3044. You can catch us out on the road in the van for our mobile sales. And you can visit us at 3303 West Division Street in Arlington, Texas, where you can find a showroom full of PDR tools.
Fantastic.
All right. I don't have Mike's cut in here, but I'll go. Stop sucking eggs. Time for tech tips.
That was perfect.
All right. So who wants
who's going first? You got one, John?
I do. Yeah, I do. And Vince stole mine original one, and he kind of pushed me into going into this other direction, which is good because I'm going to be doing some videos that are going to be coming out that are going to be of the nature of being free for a lot of people to watch about blending and specifically using my new blending hammer.
Cool.
So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some of my inspiration on this. So I got a lot of technicians that come around, work with a lot of guys. I train a lot of guys that are veteran technicians, and they come to me for this reason or that reason. But a common thing that I see is that most folks don't understand truly how to use a blending hammer, okay? And a lot of folks, when they put it in their hand, they just kind of hit the panel, they move their arm, they don't really get into a rhythm or a flow with the blending hammer. And I started kind of putting this together with basketball. So, a way that I want to explain the rhythm and the flow of blending is a lot like the rhythm and the flow that you get when you're using a basketball, okay? And when you first get a basketball, you're hitting it, you know, it's going too high, it's going too low, and you got to get better handles to actually be able to dribble that basketball. So what I want you guys to think about when you're out there doing blending is that you're literally dribbling, and you're trying to get this flow where the actual hammer takes over and begins doing the work for you. If you're using your arm in a mechanical motion and you're just tapping and hitting, you're technically not getting in the right rhythm to do blending at a level where you're actually moving the metal based on the vibrations around the damage. So that's the key. A lot of folks, when they do blending, they end up with straight lines or creases or what we call canoes. Somebody said one time that you could go canoeing down this guy's rail. You get on a little canoe and you go down the little lines. Well, that's not how blending is supposed to be done. What blending is supposed to be done is specifically on rails, the little vibrations are supposed to flow into the center and push the damage up. Essentially like creating a tiny little crown in the middle of that little low, okay? So, you know, like on a big dent on a panel, it gets smashed in, you got a crown right there. Well, that's the metal flowing and stopping outwards in an outward motion. So I'm just going to go into detail in this video coming out about blending. But I just want to get you guys thinking about getting into a rhythm. Make sure that your arm is not moving in a weird motion, like a mechanical motion. It should be coming from your wrist. And think about it about like dribbling a basketball. You got to get into a nice flow. You got to let that thing take over, right? And
Right
that's my tech tip here. I'm going to come out with a great video for you guys, and I'm going to go ahead and let Vince take over.
All right, Vince, you're up next. Let's go.
Okay. Well, I had a tech tip similar to John, so I'm going to do mine and then elaborate with John's as well. And that's using a whale tail to cut through glue. There's a couple techniques. There's tools that Anson sells to cut through glue, but I'm talking when you're cutting through glue on a door. And one of the techniques I like to use is to cut away from the brace first. And the reason being is if you cut on the opposite side of the glue where the skin is, you're more prone to putting snail trails through the dent that you're trying to get through. So by cutting away the glue along the brace for the area, the damaged area that you're trying to get to, cut that away first, then go over to the skin of the car and cut it away. And you're going to have less chance of creating snail trails through the braced area. Now, on another note, some people use Vaseline, some people use Gojo, which Gojo is an old one that we've been using for years that a lot of people might not be aware of, but that's going to add a little bit of lubrication. And then when you're getting into like the Dodge trucks or Chrysler products or Dodge, you're dealing with glue that's rock solid, rock hard. And what I like to do is I have a sacrificial whale tail, and I call it sacrificial whale tail because there's no strength to it at all anymore. You know, it twists it, it just spins at the head. So I heat it up with my torch. I get my torch out and I get it glowing red hot. And once again, I start on the brace side of the glue and cut away the brace side. Because really, you don't want a red hot piece of metal sitting up against the panel either, because it will, if you keep it there long enough, you will melt the paint. So I cut away from the glue and keep it moving at all times and cut away from the skin of the car, allowing access to the damaged area. And the other tip with that, if you are heating up the sacrificial whale tail, is roll down the windows and open the doors, because there's a lot of smoke that comes from it. I've yet to start a fire, but I guess that might be possible.
Hey, Vinny, I wanted you to mention something though. That Gojo can cut through glue without heating your whale tail at all. If you just put it in Gojo and ram it through glue, it will cut.
Nice.
You know what Vince may need?
What's that?
That's a great
Well,
tech
I'm
tip,
thinking
by the
he
way,
might
Vince.
need, since
What's
he's
that?
pretty much an expert on glue cutting, but I bet he doesn't have a 14-inch offset spatula that's serrated down two sides and not on the point. I bet he doesn't have that. Don't you think? Where do you think you might be able to get one of those, and when?
I bet you can find one at AnsonPDR.com.
Yeah, 14
Yeah,
inches. Huh?
okay.
Hopefully in about 12 to 14 weeks.
They're
Oh,
on order.
fantastic.
They're being
Nice.
built, and so that'll be a new product that's
Awesome.
you guys can touch and feel at MTE if it hits. So
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, of
It won't be ready for
It's not gonna be
MTE now that we brought it up.
And 14 inches, that should be long enough to get down to the middle of a door.
Well,
as
that's the first size. It's kind of an optimum size, and then there'll be a longer one and a shorter one made after that. All those things are a process. So we'll make sure.
And it's offset. It's offset, so you won't rack your knuckles as you're
There you
sticking
go.
it down the window. Fantastic.
Keep it window, roof, or underneath the hood, or whatever. You'll save some skin on the knuckles and be able to cut well.
So I'm going to elaborate on that. So one of the things I've been doing to, instead of heating up my tool, I've been using the hot box.
There you go. Fantastic.
That is.
And
Fantastic.
it works actually really well, especially with the
Yeah.
really hard glue.
Wow.
And it does it in 1 second. You push the button, boom, you're done. And the glue's soft and you push through it.
Mhm.
Now, Daniel, does that
for
create
those-
a hot spot? Does that create a high spot right there?
Not if you're right on the brace, and the glue's really hard.
Mhm.
It dissipates back.
It does. You can take the hot box on the nose of a lot of these hoods, and maybe you can't, or having a heck of a lot of trouble getting your whale tail through. We'll heat up the nose of that hood, and almost any whale tail, it's like a knife going through butter. And
You know, I will tell you, the next hailstorm that we hit here in Ohio, we were unfortunate this year and have not had any hail really to speak of here in Ohio. However,
Did you say
the
unfortunate?
Unfortunately, yeah, we were very unfortunate. But you know, the hot box will be something that I purchase during the next hailstorm, because I think that's where it would be the most valuable, and where that would happen is where there's tiny lows. Wherever there's, you do a hail damage car and you're working an entire area. I mean, if it's hit with 100 dings in a quarter panel and you start seeing some tiny little lows here and there, I think that's where the hot box reigns supreme and would make you a lot of money.
the hot box is it's a good product, not an everyday use product for a PDR tech, but it'll bail you out every now and then, just like that 7 or 8 foot rod that every now and then you really need to get out there. So it is a great product. We're proud to carry it.
Right, absolutely. And I've just came to realize that, because I didn't like it when I first got it. I just was using it on the wrong type of damage, and just I think the price difference helps me, because like it was like $3,500. What is it, like $2,000 now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so in my
the $1,500 price difference sure makes people look harder.
right. But so in my mind, I was justifying. I was sitting there thinking, like, the hot box is great, but how much would I pay for it? And currently, in a door dinger situation, I would pay $600 for it. All honesty, that's what would make me whip out my card right now and pay for it. But now, if hail hit, I would easily clear. I would pay $2,000 for it, no problem. You know what I mean? That would put me. And I'm just talking to the audience out there, in all practicality. But if you're a guy that's got to have everything, and it will bail you out of certain situations, you're probably going to make your money back on it. So, especially in a hail situation.
Daniel,
Yeah.
what's your tech tip?
So my tech tip is hopefully there's harbor. Is there harbor freights all over the country?
I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Harbor Freight, I went there and I found some super, super long screwdrivers. I mean, I'm talking 3 foot, I guess, 3-foot long screwdrivers, and you got Camrys and Accords that have the little screw on the underside of the bumper. And with one of those screwdrivers, you can get up in there and unscrew those screws to get that tail light out without having to take the bumper off. And it's better than buying a big one of those expensive screwdrivers at Snap-on, that screwdriver that you're only going to use every once in a while. And it works great.
Hey, Daniel, I told you about the guy that I seen that was using a Sawzall, didn't I?
Oh, underneath that?
Yeah, he would just put a wedge in there and take a Sawzall and cut that plastic bracket in half.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put out any names. This was a guy who he wouldn't drill a hole in a car. Like, he was a non-drill guy and everything like that. He was just like, man, it's stupid. He's like, they put something on there was stupid. Like, it's got 4 bolts that holds it on the back. And then they put a plastic bracket under here. He's like, the next guy that takes his taillight out is going to say somebody smart got a hold of it before I did.
Well, I talked to the mechanic at Honda, and they had a Bolton out, and he says the reason they did that is they're getting taillights that were leaking, and then that's what they did. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what this guy told me.
Yeah, that's hard to believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll just put pack some cola free up in there.
That's right.
Pack it around the edges.
Yeah. Cola free is like
It's our new
duct tape.
Dent guy glue, right? Dent guy glue, that works for everything.
It might fix flats as well.
You never, yeah.
I always tell my customers I'm going to seal the hole, get the Dent guy glue out.
Yeah.
It's sealed up. No,
That's right.
Hey, my wifey's car won't start. I got to go, guys. Thanks
All
for
right,
coming
man.
on. We'll see you.
All right,
Thank
Vinny. We'll
you.
catch you later.
Take care. Look forward to your invention that comes out of the
Definitely.
surgical industry.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll love it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Hey, and
Okay, Ben.
all right. Would Craig and Christina, would you guys like to close us out with any tech tips on your side? You guys don't
What
have
would be
to,
your
or you can just
tech
let
tip,
us.
Christina.
My tech tip would be for any PDR technician to visit AnsonPDR.com
Like
for
that.
all of their paintless dent repair needs.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
I
Right
love
on.
it. I love it. Yeah, I feel so much better as well putting some faces to the product. I mean, that's just an awesome thing because people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And putting a name and face to the product, I think that's so cool that Christina took over, Grandpa's company and is running it day to day. And you're 29 years old. I just think that's so awesome.
I think we need to find.
He didn't say I look
I
young.
know he
What the
didn't.
heck?
Hey, you
We
told
need to-
me that she's doing all the work, so I couldn't give you any credit there.
John, we need to find an excuse to go out there and do a live show at Anson.
You need to.
Well, I'll tell you
Anytime.
what, now that you mention that,
Yeah.
no, seriously, we want to see about having you guys come out and do we briefly talked with Mike along those lines before, and even James Lee. Let's tie something together and come do it at Anson. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I would love
Yeah.
to. Yeah, I would love to.
I have to save some money before I come out, though.
Well, you guys would practically have a tool show right there. You know what I mean? It's like all.
Yeah.
Well, if you wouldn't blow all your money on those screwdrivers at Northern Tool or wherever.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So anyhow, we're going to go ahead and close out on this episode of PDR
Can
Tool
I
Time.
do our promotion real quick?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. You got
tell us.
you got a promo
Yeah.
code?
We have got a promo code. It is Tool Time
All
on
right.
AnsonPDR.com from October 18th through October 31st. With any purchase of an unlimited cordless glue gun,
Okay.
fancy.
Yeah, I love that thing.
They're $150, and then
on
here's
sale for
what else you get.
$150.
Uh-huh.
You get a pack of Glue Track steel glue, which we discussed.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Pack of plain Jane Swiss blue glue for the cooler
Nice.
up. A pack of the root beer crease tab variety that newly came out a couple weeks ago,
Awesome.
and the Aussie PDR bloody orange 16-piece variety, all free with purchase of an unlimited glue gun.
Oh,
So you
my.
get extra, $152 worth of free product
Mhm.
for purchasing.
Awesome.
we'll limit it.
Wow.
Just for our listeners, man. That's awesome, man. I
That
wish we had
is-
that. I wish we had the clap.
Yeah. We're gonna do it. I'll clap really hard and fast to make it happen.
Yeah.
All right.
Happen.
So you guys hear that?
All
You're getting $152 in bonus products by punching in. You said tool time
Full time.
into the promo box with the purchase of a James Lee gun that's only $150.
Mhm.
Take my money.
Man,
That's
but
awesome.
awesome. Yeah. So there's your reason. If you haven't bought it yet, now you have a reason to buy it, or buy a second one. What the
There
hell?
you go. Get a Milwaukee, a Makita, and a DeWalt.
There you go.
Absolutely. All right. Well,
All right,
Craig,
guys. And
Christina,
remember, level up your tools.
and join the revolution. It was a pleasure having you two on. Okay.
Thank you.
Pleasure being on. Thank
And
you.
just
guys.
hang out for 1 second. I'm gonna close out.